All right, we will now reconvene to open session. The time is 7:01 p.m. Noting that a quorum of the board is present, we will continue with the next item on the agenda, which is our Pledge of Allegiance. All stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Now we'll observe a moment of silence. Thank you. And that moves us to item 3E on our agenda, which is the appointment of trustee for position number 6. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. And before I open for discussion, I have a statement to read, which is our press release. The Humble ISD Board of Trustees is voting this evening to appoint Mr. Colin Carney to the board. Mr. Carney, a CPA, is an asset and wealth management tax director at PricewaterhouseCoopers. He has been with the company since 2003. Sorry. He is a member of the Texas Society for Certified Public Accountants and American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. His family includes his wife Jennifer and daughter Addison, ISD elementary school student, and son Blake, who will be attending Humble ISD after completing preschool. Jennifer is a former Humble ISD teacher. The Carney family has resided in Humble ISD for the past 10 years. Mr. Carney has volunteered as a junior achievement instructor, YMCA T-ball coach, and Alliance Youth soccer coach. He's committed to bringing energy and enthusiasm to the board, learning more about the issues impacting the current and future state of the district, and working collaboratively with the fellow board members to make the best decisions for the current and future generations of Humble ISD stakeholders. Mr. Carney takes over position 6, which became open when Heath Rushing resigned because he moved out of the district to serve as CEO of Memorial Hermann Cypress and Memorial Hermann Katy Hospitals. Mr. Rushing is a good man, and he was a huge asset to our board. His energy and experience will be hard to replace, but Mr. Carney should be able to hit the ground running. His experience with business, finance, and education will bring a valuable perspective to the group. He also brings an open mind and a desire to learn. Those are attributes that will serve well in the community. The term for position 6 continues through May 2019. Position 6 will be on the ballot in May 2019 when Humble ISD has a general election scheduled. Just as a reminder, the boards began a search for a new trustee in June. The opening attracted 14 residents who submitted applications and considered for the appointment. I think it speaks well of our community that we had 14 very qualified and engaged individuals who are willing to dedicate their time to serve on the board. And it's encouraging to know that Humble ISD has these leaders in our community who are looking out for the welfare of our students, teachers, and community. As you know, board members are volunteers who serve without pay. So with that, I will open it up for discussion.
I'll just start it off. I tell you, it was a great pool of candidates, 14 as you mentioned, with fantastic resumes. Looking at what Mr. Carney brings to the table as a CPA. His educational background was right up there with all the other applicants, and they're standing in the community. They live in Kingwood and are very involved in multiple activities with their kids. I believe he is going to be a great addition, and I welcome him to be part of our team.
Thank you, Mr. Sidman.
I'll just add, I've served on this board for 11 years now, and two of the best board members that I've served with, Jim Eggers and Dave Martin, have the exact same background as Mr. Carney. And I've never met Colin Carney. I've never even spoken to him. But the information that we've got on his references, his resume, everything that we've found out about him, it just reminded me of those two board members and his experience. It's something that experience is something that I think this board needs. And I'm excited that he's willing to serve. And I think the community should be very excited that we have his talent, his abilities, his experience on this board to help us manage this district. So I welcome Mr. Carney to the board, and I look forward to getting to know him.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Anybody else?
I can get the microphone. I just want to say I'm very excited to work with Colin. I don't know you real well just yet. I've done a lot of reading on you, and I am so happy. There were so many applicants, and they were all good, but you stood out, and I'm very excited that you're going to learn along with me.
Thank you, Ms. Morrison.
Well, first, I'd like to say to the applicants that we definitely had 14 strong candidates to consider. Please stay involved in the district. I think it's really important to not, quote unquote, disappear after a process like this. And then second, to Colin Carney, I look forward to working with you. Like everyone else has said here, your resume speaks for itself, and I look forward to you being a part of our team. Thank you.
All right, and I will just echo what Miss Dixon said. I was very pleased with the level of applicants that we had, and I'm not sure if it made it easier or harder when we called on references, because they were all very highly spoken of, and I too hope that they will stay involved. Of course, there's very many opportunities this school year to be involved and to continue to give this board some guidance. So we would hope that you would stay involved as well. And Colin, welcome to the board, and we're looking forward to learning from you as well. If there are no other comments, we have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor? That's unanimous. Awesome. So at this time, we would welcome Mr. Colin Carney to take the oath of office. And with him tonight is his wife, Jennifer, his daughter, Addison, and his son, Blake.
That I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of school board trustee for the humble independent school district of the state of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and this state. So help me God.
Now we'll take a brief recess for some congratulatory remarks and pictures, and then we'll have Mr. Carney join us at the board table.
Well, you didn't have Brent, so you could read everything for you. I had to learn how to do it when I moved down.
All right, we are ready to reconvene, which brings us to item 3G. That is our commendations and recognitions.
Thank you. Tonight we will begin with tonight's meeting with our Inspiring Moments video. We're looking at the power of possibilities, summer training workshops for our teachers and leadership. 1,800 teachers and administrators attended nearly 300 different sessions in June and July. Jonathan, please play tonight's Inspiring Moment.
What we have going on today is the power of possibilities.
When we first started to put this together, we were just hoping maybe we'd have 75 teachers that might be interested in trying a new idea, a new strategy.
What we're doing is asking our teachers to be creative, risk takers, thinking out of the box to really empower our students.
We wanted to give them a chance to fail forward, to take a risk, and just try something different.
All of those skills that we want to see come out of our students is what we're having our teachers experience these next few weeks.
First step for most of these concepts that they're learning here, that we're learning here in Power of Possibilities, is willing to take the first step.
It's not that what we're doing, we're saying, oh, it's all wrong and we have to throw that out. I think that what we have to do is say, well, how can we make this better? How can we make improvements to be more authentically geared toward what kids need for the 21st century?
If we could share some new strategies, some new ideas to engage kids and to give teachers some new tools, that's what it's all about.
It's very important that we take these risks, we go outside the box, we keep education alive.
In one of our lessons, what we did was we said, okay, well, you know what, these worksheets, we're killing them. Let's take 5 of these 20 questions, okay, and let's make them real life. Let's bring in the hardwood flooring. Let's bring in the baking pans and the cake.
When you think about design strategies, the very basic, the heart of it is the heart. And if you can hook kids and get them excited about it, they're going to learn at far greater levels than we ever hoped.
I've really enjoyed today at the Power of Possibilities workshop because we're so exciting to watch as teachers, because we actually created something and we got excited because I didn't know what I was doing, but I got excited watching my peers, watching them achieve, watching me achieve, and then together we created something wonderful that we were so excited about.
This is an opportunity for us to essentially reignite, not just in teachers, but in kids too, a love of learning.
The training that I've been doing in my position as an alt has been great because I've had the opportunity to see a lot of different things, hear a lot of different things, and now I'm able to take that back to my campus and share that out with my teachers.
From my education in the past, it was always book learning and worksheets, and so this will just give me more avenues to open up to get away from that and more towards the hands-on, the creative, the higher level thinking side of it.
Sometimes we get burned out because we do the same things over and over again. But then, when you see something new, and if you're not afraid to try it, it kind of sparks your life again. You find the passion, your passion that that you've lost it a little bit in teaching. And for me, that's what Power of Possibilities is. It gives me a way to grow myself as an educator and at the same time help my students grow.
And I think with these Power of Possibilities workshops that we're attending, the children really gain so much more than just learning. It's more than just the product, it's the process, which that they can carry on through the rest of their life. And that's what I hope I take back to my students so they can grow as lifelong learners.
I'd like to recognize some of the stars of our video tonight. Our Curriculum and Instruction Department was instrumental in the success of the Power of Possibilities. Some of them were in the video, some were behind the scenes, but this was a group effort to truly bring authentic learning experiences to our teachers so that they could take them back to their students. If you're with the C&I, please stand. The people being, yeah, go ahead, give them a big round of applause. The people being recognized represent over 272 students, teachers, administrators, and community members who teamed up with the Curriculum and Instruction Department to bring about these amazing sessions. We have Dr. Ann Johnson, Julie Breedlove, Jennifer Burgess, Lakeitha Cooper, Stephanie Coronado, Kathleen Gerner, Myra Herbst, Elizabeth King, Melissa Lee, Lisa McCorkdale, Stephanie Perry, Rachel Smith, Helen Wagner, Amber Widmeyer, Jennifer Wilson, Jennifer Wright, Courtney Fress, Sherry Chapman, Jennifer Woodall, Courtney Peterson, Shannon Burke, and Lumara Blanco Lahara. So I got that last one almost got me. Okay, all right. As somebody with a hard name, I appreciate that. Okay. I also want to highlight that, though they're not here, our Kingwood High School CTE media students helped gather footage for tonight's inspiring moments. Congratulations to all of you for an incredible professional development opportunity this summer for teachers and administrators throughout our district. Next, the Humble ISD Education Foundation makes a huge difference for students. Tonight, the Foundation Board has an exciting announcement to make. I'm going to ask Jen Sitton, Chairman of the Humble ISD Education Foundation, to please come forward and share some good news.
You jinxed me. I was tripped. Okay, good evening. Humble ISD trustees, Dr. Fagan, and community members. Thank you for the opportunity to come before you this evening to talk about the exciting year Humble ISD Education Foundation had in the 2016-17 school year. Before I get started, so just be patient with me briefly, there are some very important people I would like to thank who helped make this past year possible. Our foundation board, who some are with me tonight, Dr. Liz Fagan serves on our board liaison for 16-17, Mr. Charles Cunningham, Bonnie Longan, Scott Brady, and Martina Dixon. She was with us before she joined this elite group. Our foundation board is amongst some of the most dedicated community members who want the best for the teachers and students of Humble ISD. They continually roll up their sleeves and work hard for the students and teachers, and I can't thank them enough. They are a wonderful board to work with. Our foundation staff, Jerry Monbaron, Christy Tarkington, who is hiding in the crowd, Ashley Walker, Kiana Rios, Adrian Holmes, and Jasmine Julia. Without them, the fun, crazy, and innovative ideas we have as a board would not be possible. They never shy away from a challenge and all the fun stuff that we like to do. They always embrace it and run with it. And of course, our donors. Without their continued financial support, none of this would be possible. We greatly appreciate your ongoing support. I was very honored and humbled when asked to serve as chairwoman of the Humble ISD Education Foundation 2 years ago. I follow in a long line of dedicated leaders, one of them being Scott Brady, who have moved our foundation forward in innovative ways. 16-17 was another remarkable year for the foundation. When I deemed this year's tagline, "Making the Impossible Possible," it was taken by heart by our staff and board. The foundation raised funds to be able to award $1.1 million to support campus projects and district initiatives, which includes $307,195 in innovative education grants. Together, we made the impossible possible. This year also brought a unique and exciting partnership to our community. The foundation partnered with Humble ISD and the Lake Houston YMCA to build the Insperity Adaptive Sports Complex, which is located between Groves Elementary and Middle School number 9. The facility will give students with special needs the opportunity to participate in athletic events such as Miracle League, baseball, and program ran by the Lake Houston YMCA. The complex includes a barrier-free playground so that children with special needs can play alongside their siblings and friends. We are looking forward to the grand opening of this innovative facility on September 16th, and I hope all of you can make it and see these dreams come true for these kids, and not only for the kids, but for the parents. One thing that just touched my heart, and I'm going off script just a touch, don't know where I get it from. Watching the kids is one thing, taking the field. But as a parent of a special needs child, knowing that there is a chance that you will never see your kids take the field or hear their name being called over a loudspeaker, it breaks my heart. And this is the opportunity they have to do that. So I encourage you to please come out and witness it. It's going to be amazing. Whew, so I won't cry. When the foundation was formed 18 years ago, its mission was to support teachers using innovative strategies to engage students in quality learning experience. And it's perfect we've had the inspiring moments to help keep that going. That tradition has held strong over the years with projects such as Healing Hearts with a Furry Friend, a program where certified dogs work with students who are experiencing anxiety or just need a listening ear to practice their reading. Wish I had one of those tonight. The Plasma Torch Mate and Metal Saw project teaches high school students the latest advances in the field of welding and ensure they are prepared to be workforce leaders upon graduation. In the project, There Is No Place Like Home, Northbelt Elementary teachers visited students and parents in their homes to help them prepare for a successful school year. These are just a few of the many creative projects supported by donors in our community, and I can go on, but I know we don't have that much time. The 2017-18 school year is upon us, and I'm excited for what is to come for the foundation and the students of Humble ISD. So again, thank you for your continued dedication and support. It would not be possible without each and every one of you. Board members and Dr. Fagan, you will find our annual report along with an umbrella as a gift from the foundation at your seat. We are in need of the umbrellas this week, so I'm hoping that's going to scare the rain off for the rest of the week. So community, you're welcome if I scare off the rain. Community members and guests, our website is going through some innovative updates. So check back periodically. Our annual report will be uploaded along with new innovative ways of showing our grants in action. So please just check back periodically. That's coming out soon. So it is my esteemed honor and privilege on behalf of the wonderful people standing up here with me and our foundation board that are not able to be here tonight to present a check in the amount of $1.1 million to Humble ISD.
Next, I would like to invite Dr. Charles Ned forward to share some exciting news.
All right, good evening, Board of Trustees, Dr. Fagan, cabinet members, and guests. I'm Charles Ned. I represent the Department of Advanced Academics, and tonight we want to highlight our 2017 Advanced Placement Scholars. Collectively, Humble ISD had a total of 5,086 AP exams administered this year by 2,927 students. That's an increase of 12% when compared to 2016. More than half of the students received a score of 3 or higher, earning a minimum of 8,781 potential college credits. Students who do well on multiple AP exams can receive one of 4 College Board's AP Scholar designations. More than 600 Humboldt ISD students received one of these designations, and 26 of these students attained the highest level of achievement and were named National AP Scholars. So just to put that in perspective, to be a National AP Scholar, for starters, you have to obviously pass all of your exams. Every exam you take, you have to pass it. So in addition to averaging a score of 4 on AP exams, you have to take 8 or more AP exams. So again, most students, they'll take 4, possibly 3 or 4 AP exams. These students have taken in excess of 8 AP exams and have passed all of them with an average score of a 4. So being named the National AP Scholar is quite an achievement. And although many of our students, they're out at their respective college and university representing Humboldt ISD as alumni now, I just thought it would be befitting of the moment to commend and recognize these students for this excellent academic achievement. And at this time, I know that I asked students if they could be in attendance to please come to this meeting tonight, and a number of them indicated they could not. So a lot of them are watching on text and live. But for the sake of time, I won't go through every name, but I would like to congratulate all 26 of you. You know who you are. So at this time, I'd like to ask our board president, Ms. Conrad, and our superintendent of schools, Dr. Fagan, to come forward and receive this banner bearing the names of all 26 of Humboldt ISD's National Advanced Placement Scholars for 2017. And also, I would like to ask that any student and campus administrator from the respective campuses of Atascocita High School, Kingwood High School, and Kingwood Park High School to please come forward as well. We have one national scholar in attendance, Ms. Rachel Archer. All right, thank you all very much. Congratulations again.
And that concludes our accommodations and recognitions for tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Fagan. We'll move to item 3I. It is comments by individual board members. I'll start, oops, what did I do? I skipped H, my apologies. Questions and comments by patrons or employees of the district regarding agenda items or any other matters. The board encourages comments from citizens of the district and from district employees. Anyone wishing to speak either as an individual or as a representative of a group may do so following the procedure outlined on the agenda. The board asks that comments pertain to public education issues and be no longer than 3 minutes. Remember that the board may not discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on our agenda for tonight's meeting. If an issue mentioned is listed on the agenda, the board will defer discussion until the appropriate time during the meeting. I have Ms. Kathy Belknap, chairman of the HISD Golf Classic. Copies of what? Oh, okay, it's just one.
Dr. Fagan, members of the board, administrators, teachers, parents, and community supporters. This year marked the 8th annual Humble ISD Golf Classic and was definitely one to remember. After almost a year of hard work getting sponsors, collecting donations, registering golfers, and planning all the details of the tournament, we were ready. Unfortunately, Mother Nature had other plans. At 8:00 a.m., the rain started. Our dedicated volunteers arrived, our student athletes were in place, and our loyal supporters started checking in. The rain continued. By 11 a.m., we met with the club management, and the course was deemed unplayable. The tournament was canceled. We were able to move up the mealtime, and instead of dinner after play, we served lunch, held our raffles, and thanked our supporters. This event could not have happened without the support of the community and our sponsors. Sponsors see the vision and understand not only the costs of running golf programs, but that golf is a sport that teaches our students honor, sportsmanship, being part of a team, handling successes and failures, and learning the skills of a sport that will be valuable to each one of these 200 students in their professional careers. With the generosity of our sponsors, along with Charity Golf International, Diamonds in the Rough, Golf Cars of Houston, Chick-fil-A, Italianos, and a whole list of community supporters, we were able to reach our fundraising goal. If it were not for this local support, our program would not thrive. The 2016-2017 year in Humble ISD Golf came with a lot of successes. We proudly announced the following accomplishments. The KHS Mustang boys and girls teams were both district champions and regional runners-up. They also took 2 medalists to the regional championship. Jackie Berry was the district champion and Mary Beth Belknap was runner-up. Damon Stryden was regional champion. The boys finished 4th in state at the state tournament, and the girls finished 6th. Jackie Berry was state runner-up. The Atascocita boys were district runners-up, and Ransom Jacobson was district champion. The boys finished 3rd at regionals, which qualified them for their first state tournament, where they finished in 10th place. The girls were district runners-up and finished in 6th place at regionals. The Kingwood Park boys finished 2nd at district and 8th at regionals. There's a lot of them, sorry. The Kingwood Park girls won their 5th consecutive district championship. Leah Alberto was district champion and Elise Perel was runner-up. The girls also won their 4th consecutive regional championship. Leah Alberto was regional champion and Ariana Sines placed 3rd. The girls were runners-up at the state championship and Leah Alberto finished 5th place overall. This was the first time Humble ISD sent 4 teams to the state championship, which is a pretty amazing feat. From the tournament, we were able to award 2 memorial scholarships in the memory of lost teammates. Our scholarship winners were Haley Hefner from Kingwood High School and Jacob Chancellor from Kingwood Park. Tonight, we have representatives from each program with wonderful news. From Atascocita, we have district champion Ransom Jacobson. From Kingwood, district runner-up Mary Beth Belknap and regional medalist Kara Wilhoit. From Kingwood Park, Bethany Bruton and Carter Korb. And from Summer Creek, Oliver Madsen. The history of the HISD Golf Classic has been one of success. In the past 8 years, the tournament has been able to raise in excess of $365,000 for the district golf programs. Of these funds, $50,000 was used for training aids, equipment, scorecard holders for all the students, a putting green, instruction, and continuing education for the coaches. The remaining $330,000, including tonight's contribution, was given back to the Humble ISD Athletic Department to offset the expensive cost of the program, tournament fees, transportation, and tournament hosting expense. On behalf of the student golfers, coaches, and parents, we are pleased and proud to present the Board of Trustees a check in the amount of $50,000. Thank you again to the board and our incredible supporters. We hope to see you on the course at the 9th Annual Humble ISD Golf Classic with our new title sponsor, DR Golf, on Monday, February 19th, which is only 195 days away.
Well, that's exciting. All right, that brings us to item 3I, comments by individual board members. I'll start to my right, Mr. Cunningham. No comment. Mr. Sitton?
Yeah, just a couple things. Is Dr. Johnson here? Where's? During the course of calling some of the references on the trustee applicants, got in touch with one of the teachers that went to a couple of the sessions this summer. So I said, sidebar, tell me what you thought about this summer. She said, it was fantastic. And then she said, if there was one thing I would change is give us more time per session. She said, I put that in my comments because I was so excited and I got ready to get started and then it was time to move to the next session. So I tell you what, the response that we've been getting as board members on the Power of Possibilities sessions this summer was unbelievable, and thank you for bringing that to the district. We appreciate that. Also, the foundation, great job as always. You know, for public schools, not just in the state of Texas, but around the country, when you bring in over $1 million a year like you have for, gosh, I don't know, the last 7, 8, 9 years, that's pretty impressive. When people are looking at Humble ISD, they're not just looking at a football team or the guys and gals that are overseas in debate competitions, which is pretty awesome. They look at all levels. And I know when Dr. Fagan came in a year ago, one of the things she said is, whatever we're going to do as Humble ISD, we're going to do it the best of anybody. And that all goes all the way down to our foundation as well. So thank you all so much for that. And then Dr. Ned doing a great job with advanced academics. I mean, those are the kind of things, that's the end product. That's the end product. We want you to have to present 3 or 4 banners because we can't get all the names on one. Okay, so thank you very much. And I tell you, did Ransom leave? Golfers left. Ransom makes me feel old. I coached him in Little League, so. And now he's about a foot taller than me. So that's all I've got, and I will turn it back to you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Sitton. Mr. Lopez?
Just quickly, with Dr. Johnson, he may have heard feedback before, but this is the first time I've ever heard feedback from teachers, and it was positive. It's really amazing, and the excitement, and next year I think you're going to have overflow crowds to what you're doing there. So thank you for that. The foundation, it's a model not only for our area but for the state, for the country. What you guys are doing, it's just impressive what you guys have done. And I want to thank all the community members. Mr. Brady, Dr. Lanyon, others who have, Martina, have given their time, volunteer their time to help with the board and the foundation and raising money and doing all the things they do. And especially you, Jen Sitton, the work that you've done, the volunteer work that you've done is just amazing. And just thank you as a community member, not even a board member. Dr. Ned, AP Honor Board, I mean, it's just amazing that those kids, against the end product. And the reason why Mr. Sitton was so impressed is because, when he went to high school, he didn't even know how to spell AP. So it's very impressive, very impressive. And that's it, I'll pass.
Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Ms. Dixon?
Well, first, I'd like to start off by congratulating the 26 National AP Scholars. What a wonderful honor. And Dr. Ned, thanks for your presentation. Kathy Belknap and the Humble ISD Golf Classic, the $50,000 donation, what a wonderful way to just showcase the students. We have wonderful golf teams. I have a little golfer myself, so I'm always, just impressed to see how well they're doing. And last, my Education Foundation family. I know I'm part of that, well, no longer, but still always a part. It's been an honor, honestly, to serve on the Education Foundation board. It was sad to leave, actually. I really enjoy participating and being involved in that aspect of the district. But I'm always here if you need me. just want to see you on a regular basis. But thank you very much for a great couple of years. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dixon. To my left, Ms. Morrison.
Well, I'll ditto everything, okay, in that sense of the manner. But I want to say a special thank you to the foundation. I don't know if many people understand or actually know that a lot of our inspiring moments, the reason why we have those inspiring moments, the foundation allows that for us. So kudos and continue that growth. Thank you. I cannot say enough about it. Congratulations to our kids. That's needless to say, that says a whole lot. Over 600, I mean, that says a lot about Humble ISD and the fabulous instruction and curriculum. Dr. Johnson, I can't say enough. I've seen more tweaks, like I said last week, tweaks, Facebook, and continued the ditto of saying, can we have more? So continue it, please. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Morrison. Mr. Carney.
Yes, I want to say thank you, first of all, to all my fellow board members. I'm really, really excited about this opportunity. I'm flattered that I was the choice amongst a lot of very qualified individuals. I read through a lot of those materials and was blown away. So I'm very, very pleasantly surprised to be the pick. I'm happy. And also I'd say to the AP scholars, a lot of the reason why I'm sitting here today is because of some AP courses that I took when I was in high school. I've learned a lot of really solid study skills and carried that through to college, and that carried through to my job. And here I am today. So I would say keep it up. Great job. Way to go.
Thank you, Mr. Carney. And just to add to that on the AP scholars, we have so many opportunities for students, and not everybody could be an AP scholar, but it's just another opportunity for students to excel in a different way, and parents can benefit from that too. We get a little tuition break from those those credits, so that's worth plugging out for. I did say something about Power of Possibilities last month, but we didn't have our curriculum instruction people here, and I just want to shout out to all you guys, because y'all do it not just today and not just yesterday, but every day, and you provide those opportunities for teachers, and teachers are like students too. They're on that spectrum where some have a little bit of experience and some have a lot, and you're working with a lot of different levels in your professional development too. So it says a lot about how you adapt your training every single day to meet the needs of our teachers. And so we appreciate that, not just the planning that goes up front, but how you adapt that every day. So I feel their excitement. I'm excited for them, and I feel like not only are we sending the message that we're giving them the support that they need in the classroom, but you're literally providing that support to help them to take those chances, to try something new, and without being afraid of it, and learning with one another. As well as, Nancy said it really well, Foundation provides a lot of those opportunities, and we are very thankful for it. And you're here as a reminder. We appreciate your service and all that you do to gear us up to give. We have the most giving faculty and staff. It's just amazing, but I think it's because they know that it goes directly back into the classroom. And I think when you come and kind of give us this report, before I look at the report, it's just a reminder that, hey, they probably just got their funds from their grants that were awarded last year. So they'll be implementing those in the classroom this year, right? So that's pretty exciting, because that goes on all year long, not just when the awards are granted. So thank you for that. And although I'm not always excited to hear Humble ISD in the news, I was excited yesterday because I stumbled upon a segment from a North Belt classroom. And I don't think she's here, Miss Jotina Buck, but she's taken the flexible seating to the next level. And I think it was because of the Power of Possibilities and not being afraid of taking that chance in your classroom. So I liked that they highlight some of the wonderful things that are going on in the classroom, and that's where our focus is. So that's all I have. Okay, that brings us to our next item on the agenda, which is our action. Oh, that is our administration. I don't want to leave you out, Dr. Fagan.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So a couple of things I wanted to mention tonight. First of all, a lot of you already know this, but all of our campuses met standard. Although I may not be a huge fan of the TEA system, it is a system we have. It is a data point. It's one that we take into consideration. And I don't know what the exact years are, but I just want to congratulate all of our teachers, our support staff, our leaders on meeting standard across 100% across the district. I think that that's quite an accomplishment for the entire district and team. So if everybody could just join me in giving them just a little round of applause for that work. I also want to welcome Mr. Carney to the team of 8, and if they advertise it as one meeting a month, we need to talk. There's both the foundation board members and the trustees here work far more than anyone realizes. This is a very, very demanding volunteer position, and they put in a lot of hours. There are committees and subcommittees, and I've just really been impressed with the way that the community wraps itself around this district, including the number of people that volunteer on both the foundation but also this board, and sincerely give of their time and expertise. So thank all of you for that, and to all the people who applied. 14 is amazing. I've known superintendents in districts where they can't get anyone to run for the board and they have to like beg people and things. So it's wonderful to have so much interest in our district, and people who want to contribute that amount of time to it is fantastic. Speaking of volunteering and contributing, we're gearing up, if you haven't seen on our website or through our newsletter, for a bond study committee. And so if you're interested in volunteering and being part of that conversation, love to have you. There's more information on the website, so I won't go into a lot of details on that, but you know that we've done a unifier study, we've done a facilities assessment that's rooftops to flower beds, no such thing as a bad idea, and it's now time for us to come together and really have the conversation about what we want to do with that information, and then bring something to this board, hopefully moving forward. So if you're interested in that, please do participate. Dr. Johnson, I have my own story on the Power Possibilities. There's, I'm sitting in the, you drive up to Carrabba's and they will bring you your food, you tell them what color your car is and stuff, and I'm sitting there and a lady walks up and knocks on my window, and I'm thinking, this could be anything. And so I roll down my window and she says, "You're the superintendent." And I said, "Yes, I am." And she said, "Well, I know this is really weird, but I just wanted to tell you I'm one of your teachers, and I attended the Power of Possibilities, and I loved it, and I am so excited for where we're going and what we're doing together, and I just wanted to tell you thank you." And so I have to tell you, this is my 11th year as a superintendent. I don't think I've ever had anyone hunt me down in the drive-through line for a positive thing. So I just wanted to make that little caveat, but anyway, I really appreciate it. I won't call her out, but and all of you, I could not be prouder of not only what you offered staff in this district, it was what they wanted, it was their option, and then you modeled all of the things we hope our students have the opportunity to experience. And I can't think of a higher quality professional development than that. What a team. And the selfie buttons were not as bad as I thought. So next year I'm back in for that. But I need more buttons because I ran out. I know. And they love the buttons, what can I tell you? Yes, but I didn't have enough, and I didn't want to tell people no, so anyway, that was really fantastic, both of them, so thank you so much. And I think that's everything for tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Fagan. I actually tried to skip 2 items. I'm trying to move us along here. So we are on item 3K, information item, public hearing on adoption of an optional flexible school day program. The board is required to hold a public hearing concerning the proposed application for the optional flexible school day program before we apply. So is there a presentation?
No, we just have to do this every year.
Or we just have to do it?
Yeah, it's request and pace. Mm-hmm.
So then we will just open the public hearing on the optional flexible school day program.
This is required.
Are there any comments?
Anyone like to talk about that? Close it now?
There being none, we will now close the public hearing. And that brings us to item 3L, our action items from closed session.
Yes, Madam President, as to the personnel, I move that the board approve the administration's personnel recommendations as presented with addendum.
I have a motion and a second. Those in favor? Any opposed? Abstentions?
As to the consideration of policy FNG local, level 3 appeal of KF, in accordance with board policy FNG local, as to the level 3 parent-student complaint appeal of KF, I move that the Board of Trustees uphold the administration's decision at level 2.
Have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Those opposed, and 2 abstentions.
Okay.
And we have our action minutes from the minutes.
Yes, Madam President, as to the minutes, I move that the board approve the minutes for the regular board meeting held on July 13th, 2017.
Was it July 13th or July 11th? This says July 11th. July 11th.
July 13th.
11th is the board meeting, the minutes were generated on the 13th.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, thank you for the clarification. Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Those approved? Abstentions?
Okay, Madam President, also, as to the minutes, I move the board approve the minutes from the special board meeting held on August 1st, 2017.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Those in favor? Any opposed? Abstentions? 2. And I think that's all of our action items from closed session, our minutes. And now we're up to our update on board associations and committees. I'll start with our audit committee. Mr. Cunningham is the chair.
Audit committee has no report. We'll be meeting here, I believe, in 2 weeks, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have our board superintendent evaluation process and goals committee, Mr. Lopez.
As the board knows, we went through our evaluation process for Dr. Fagan last week. We're going to approve her contract's up for approval tonight. We are going to put together very soon with the committee, now that we have 3 members, welcome Colin, and we're going to put together the goals and get those so we can get those aligned before school starts. But that's where we are. We also need to get together as a board to have our 3 hours that we need now that Collins has joined us, and we also need to do our board self-evaluation. So we need to get dates for that.
We do the operating procedures during that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Our board building and planning committee, Mr. Sitton.
Yes, Madam President. So we had a really busy meeting. We got an update on the Groves Elementary. As we know, it will be opening fast and furious in a few weeks. Well, it will be.
Okay.
It will be. Or Dr. Brown will be looking for another job.
He's off the hook, man.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We switched. So,
Still responsible, though?
Nolan Correa, if it doesn't open on time,
All I can say is it was on schedule.
All right. Very good. Very good. So we do know there's an inspection scheduled on Thursday that with a punch list items, and everything should go according to schedule. I know that there's some concerns about the Madeira run. We have been assured that we think that will be ready. We do have access to the facility from the Timber Force side. But the Groves management team, they're working diligently to get the road finished on the Groves side of it. Huh?
Our side's done.
Yeah, our side's done. Yeah, very good, very good. So that's the update on the Groves. The elementary 29, you'll see in the packet that I gave you all a conceptual drawing of a potential new design. Dr. Brown brought it to the Building and Planning Committee a couple months ago, and Dr. Fagan, do you want to say a few things about why we would want to look at changing the design?
Sure. So about 10 years ago, we created the current design that we have now replicated 3 times, correct? And so we were talking about some of the things we'd like to see in the next design, and Dr. Brown found a drawing that was very similar to that has some pretty significant enhancements, because as every single year that goes on, we learn more in education about safety, we learn more about instruction and instructional space. We hear from our teachers the kind of spaces they would like to have and what would really help them implement the kinds of things that they were using at the Power of Possibilities. So Dr. Brown took that feedback and found quite a few different drawings of possible elementary schools. So we're going to show those tonight, and very exciting to look at what we might build in the future. And the current building is wonderful, so I don't want to have any kind of feedback that it's not. It's just a matter of, you know, when you learn certain things, just applying that knowledge and moving forward. So that's what we're looking at.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. A couple other items. Again, this was a long meeting, so I want to make sure I touch on several of these things. As Dr. Fagan mentioned earlier about our bond planning and oversight committee, that's going to be convening real soon. They went over the timeline for that as well. And we also talked, well, no, that's a different committee. The middle school 9 boundaries, you'll see in your committee notes, the final read, I guess, for the board, and we will vote on it next month. And that is the attendance proposal 5, which keeps both elementary schools in Eagle Springs whole. One elementary school will go one way, the other elementary school will go the other direction. Is that correct?
One elementary school. Go to.
Okay, so Tennessee Springs will be split, according to this one. That's right. It's that one sliver. Gotcha. That's right. So you can see that map in your packet from our notes. If you have any questions, feel free to call Mr. Correa. Okay, so it'll be an information item tonight, so you can ask Dr. Brown and Mr. Correa any questions that you may have. So that is all I have on building and planning.
Thank you, Mr. Sitton. Our Education Foundation, do we have an update on Education Foundation? Really, you gave us the update. We don't have a liaison. Aw. Welcome, Colin. All right, our Finance Committee Chair, also Mr. Sitton.
Okay, again, another long meeting. So yes, it's not one meeting a month for an hour. Colin, welcome to the party. So I also gave you the notes that from our meeting as well. One of the key points there is we just discussed this, the state comptroller's transparency recognition, and we got notified today that the Texas State Comptroller's Office has awarded the Transparency Star in Traditional Finances for our financial transparency website. So brand new, revamped. It's fantastic. If you haven't been there, a lot of information. Huh? That's we got the star. So we also looked at the annual audit presentation, and we as a committee are recommending that is made to the entire board at a future board meeting. We think that would be more beneficial to you guys than just getting the binder and letting you read it on your own. So we'll get the high points there. Another thing that came up in July was the review of Fund 695 and that process of how we transfer money. And if you can call Mr. Sill and get some information or clarification on that. Yes, yeah, everyone should have received a copy of that, but we did talk more about that, why that's needed, and the ease and flexibility of understanding how the money's getting moved from this function to this function and so forth. So lots of things there. We also talked about potential bond referendum next year, capacities and so forth, and we went over that timeline as well in that committee. So more of that information will be coming out very soon.
Thank you, Mr. Sitton. Ms. Dixon, our Kingwood Super Neighborhood Council.
Nothing to report at this time.
No meeting yet. Meeting in August.
Meetings in August.
Awesome. Ms. Morrison with our Legislative Committee.
Legislature, well, as you know, we're in the final few days of the special session. Not a whole lot, well, nothing's done yet, so we'll see how it all comes out. I would tell everybody, please communicate with your senator. The House has been generous to us, but we need the Senate to work with us too, and it's not looking real great. So I would ask you to communicate with your senator, please.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Morrison. And our Program Evaluation Committee Chair is Mr. Lopez.
No report, just that what we're going to do is now that Dr. Price is gone and Dr. Brown has replaced him, we're going to have a meeting to kind of get an idea, and Dr. Fagan, I want you there too, figure out future plans and what we're going to do with that committee, Ms. Morrison, Mr. Sitton, and myself.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. And lastly is our Technology and Data Governance Committee. We did meet, I think it was last week, got an update on our summer projects. One thing we went over was a process for student transfers and how they're automating that with the Laserfish forms to kind of make that process a little bit better in terms of the communication that goes along the way and the workflow. So that's in the works with our programmers and all that stuff behind the scenes, maybe help Olga out a little bit. We talked about our network infrastructure. All of that has been done over the summer. Is that where you were working with your interns, right?
One of the many places, yes.
Yeah. Had some interns over the summer, students of ours in the Career and Technology program that were working with our technology staff to help with the infrastructure projects. We talked about our mobile device management system. All the iPads have been moved over to the new system. Just kind of got a device update. And then we talked a little bit about the TLE seal. We came across it. It was like a trusted learning environment seal that some, not just districts, but maybe cities and so forth, try to achieve this seal. And it has to do with data security standards. And not really whether we want to go out and try to get the seal or not, but that it maybe just provides us a good roadmap for what we should be doing to protect our data and things like that. So we just kind of looked over it and got an assessment of maybe where we would be if we were to apply and things like that. So that was it on the Technology Committee for this month. All right. No questions on that. We'll move to our next item on the agenda, which is our consent agenda. All right, so we'll start with item A, is the superintendent contract. Those are all information. Moving on to the consent, 6, learning division reports consideration and purchases. Item A, dual credit attendance waiver application. Item B, foreign exchange student waiver. Item C, JJAEP memorandum of understanding. Item D, optional flexible school day program. Under Financial Service Division reports, considerations and purchases, item A, tax refunds. Item B, budgetary amendments. And under district-wide, item A, goods, professional services, and non-construction services exceeding $50,000 in the aggregate or $25,000 individual. All right. I'll read back as a motion.
Yes, Madam President, I move that the board approve under consent, under governance, item A, under learning division reports, considerations, and purchases, items A, B, C, and D. Under financial services divisions, reports, considerations, and purchases, items A and B. Under district-wide reports, considerations, and purchases, item A.
Have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor? Abstentions? All right. All right, that brings us back to our information items. In what order? We'll go to our learning division. We have an information report on school attendance areas for middle school number 9.
Okay, so wanted to bring the Board of Trustees up to date on where we are with the Student Attendance Zone Committee. As you might recall, we met last month and we reviewed and gave an update on the committee's work, and we went through 6 proposals that the committee had looked at. So after that meeting with the Board of Trustees, we had the Student Attendance Zone Committee come back together and look at the 6 proposals along with the thought exchange information that we had received. If you'll recall, we had about 430 responses to the 6 proposals from the community. And 2 of the items on there that really stuck out from thought exchange was keeping Eagle Springs Elementary School whole in their feeder pattern, and can we do anything else to help relieve some of the overcrowding at Wood Creek? And so that's one of the things we started looking at July 18th at the committee meeting. So the committee looked at all 6 proposals, they went through thought exchange, and they came up with that proposal 5 actually probably met the community request best out of the 6 proposals. And the reason for that is because when you look at the numbers here, so like Timberwood Middle School, you can see that with proposal 5, it keeps Timberwood pretty close to their capacity, and it keeps it that way throughout. So Timberwood, with this proposal, Timberwood's going to stay at about 1,150, just roughly right in there. And so they thought that was good. Wood Creek Middle School, you can see that they'll be down around 1,400, which in true numbers of students, you're looking at around 200 to 250 students for relief of actual students. So while that's not all the relief that Wood Creek needs, it's certainly a start. And you'll certainly feel, as a former building principal, you would feel 200, 250 kids not in your building. And so, and you have to remember, looking long range, that we're looking at Middle School 10, which is property we own near Ridge Creek Elementary, which would provide a considerable amount of relief to Wood Creek. So you got to take all that into consideration. And then Middle School 9 would open under this proposal at just under 900. And you got to remember the Groves is still building out, and so when you look at the capacity of the Groves and the number of middle schools that's projected to be in there, you know, around 300 to 350, this would put Middle School 9 at a good capacity number. So we went back out to the community with an online survey, July 21st through the 31st, and just here it is. Here's what we're thinking on Proposal 5. Let us know. We had 130 responses. Out of that, 44% approved the proposals with no changes recommended. About 18.5% was asking about Lakeshore Elementary School and keeping those students together, or can we have an option to attend all of us Middle School 9? 8.5% of the 130 responses had expressed a desire to keep Atascocita Springs together, and then 7.5 wanted to choose their middle school, which middle school their child attended. And then we had various, you know, smaller percentages with various suggestions. So looking at that, it seems to us that this is it is an information item tonight, and so I'm sure we'll have more discussion throughout the month. We plan on bringing this back next month to the Board of Trustees as a recommendation for action. So we'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have, but it is an information item tonight.
Any questions for Dr. Brown? Thank you, Dr. Brown.
Okay.
But don't go anywhere.
Elementary 29.
Elementary number 29.
Dr. Brown, I do have one question about the middle school.
Since you're still there.
I asked Mr. Sitton this, but I figured I need to throw it out there to everybody. The plan after the bond is to build a middle school first. Is that right? The current idea?
Middle school 10 is scheduled to open in 2020. So if we have a 2018 bond,
It's planned to open in 2020.
correct,
So that would relieve Wood Creek.
correct.
All right.
And and the committee's looked at it a little bit. We think we could pull in possibly some relief for Humble Middle, but that's something we would really need to.
Well, I mean, I think,
Focus on.
we need to, yeah, I think we can do that too. I'm just, I mean, Wood Creek is going to be literally bursting at the seams in 2020. So as long as we're looking at that, I think we're going to be okay. Okay. That's what I was just, I mean, it's hard now.
It is hard.
And I'm just,
There's no
with
question.
increasing the population, for an additional 3 years, it's going to be really, really hard. And so, and I know personally because my son was there. So, I mean,
Sure.
I'm just concerned about that school.
But I will say, the Board of Trustees has done a good job with the long-range planning.
Oh, absolutely.
And the purchasing of the land.
And that's what I thought. I mean, I thought we with the, assuming, knock on wood, the bond passes, that we'll be able to build the school, which we already have land for.
Correct.
The middle school. And so, and relieve Wood Creek, because that's just going to be really difficult. And be having lunches at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Well, and I will say this, we did talk about it in building and planning, and, there was another option on the table that would move some kids to the new middle school and give Wood Creek more relief. But then once the new middle school would open on the Beltway, those kids would be moved again back to Wood
Correct.
Creek. And so dealing with a little overcrowding over the next couple of years to prevent kids from moving multiple times over that same period of time is what our feedback was to Dr. Brown to take back to the committee.
No, I agree with that because, when we were building schools, one a year basically, that was one of the things we avoided because all the studies show it's so bad to bounce kids around
Right.
to different schools for their education. It's awful. So, that's not an option. I get that. I'm just worried about that number in 2020. I mean, if you start pushing 1,600 kids in that campus, it's going to be awful. So, okay, good. You answered my question, so thank you.
Okay, so the next elementary school, as Mr. Sitton had indicated, we've been having discussion in the board building and planning, and as Dr. Fagan had mentioned about, we've had the concept that we've been building the last 3 over the last 10 years, and you just start having that discussion. So is it time to look at another floor plan? Is there anything else out there that we would be interested in? And so I brought forth, and we discussed a floor plan that looks like this. I'm going to show you some pictures here because I think that will help here in just a second with this. But this floor plan is one story, and what I like about this floor plan and what's interesting about this floor plan. So here is the entrance to the school, and then here really is what I call the central hub of the school, right here in the middle. And so you walk in, you have your administration building, then you walk out, and here is, I'll show you a picture of a school I'm familiar with, that huge skylight, and then you have your library, cafeteria, and gymnasium. And what I like about this is building principal, for my evening activities, it's all, unless we're having an open house or something of that nature, but for parent meetings, or if the facility's being rented, it's all centrally located right here. And the other thing I like about this design, as you go down these halls, we're able to secure the classroom spaces. So here I am as a building principal. I'm standing here. I can look and see my entire school right here. I have doorways this direction right here to get into my classroom spaces that I can lock down if needed, and over here. And as we design this, you'll see that, and this was a rendering that PBK, and we've also reached out to Joyner because we work closely with both architectural firms, and they've been great in assisting. We would look at probably some classrooms along here, some of your special classrooms, art, music, that kind of thing. So you get down in here, and here's another huge skylight. So you have one huge skylight, skylight, open area, so when you see Power of Possibilities and all of the activities that are taking place. And then as you enter the pod area, so this is a pod of classrooms, and I think this will make more sense to you when I show you the pictures. There is, if I can get the cursor to go, there is a door right here. Oh, well, there's the entry. So as you, not only can you secure it here, but then each pod is secure as well with doors. And then you have an open space surrounded by classrooms. And so when I show you this picture, I think you'll have a good idea of what that feels like. So we've left the administration building, and we're standing in that one middle area that I told you as a principal. I can see my entire building. And this is an idea of what that can look like. And over here is the cafeteria. Back here is the outdoor area with the playground and the large parking for parents. And here is the gymnasium. So there's the main office to my right as I come in, and then to my left is the library. There's the cafeteria. And it's also, it can be a cafetorium, stage, music class right off of that. And this is what I really wanted to focus on. So when you go down into those pod areas, now you've walked down the hallway, you've gone through the door, I'm actually in a pod. So I want you to think about Power of Possibilities, Portrait of a Graduate, all that you saw. Think about how teachers can use this flex space. And what I like about this is in this particular building, there's 4 classrooms. Classroom, 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 classroom. So as a team, think about the possibilities there as a team and what you can do with the space. And what I like about this design, as a teacher, I can have kids working out there, they can be working with other team members, and I'm in my classroom working with students, but I've still got a visual on. Right, those are windows. They had some kind of activity with that, but that's glass windows. And so I have the ability to keep an eye on little Roger out there. What's he doing? Where did he go? You know, and I'm still teaching my classroom. Plus I've got 4 other sets of eyes. We can really do some great activities out there with this space right here. We can even do large whole team meetings, class meetings, small group. But it's just a concept.
How many pods do you have? One.
Well, in this case here we have 3 pods, and this would have 6 classrooms. The one I was showing you it was about 75,000 square feet. It had 4 classes per pod, but you can do the 6 and still have that. This is, you know, it's for information tonight. It's to think about, to call and ask questions. We'll talk about it more in board building and planning. But it seems to meet the needs of where we're going as a district and to support the Power of Possibilities and the activities and the teachers. It seems to provide that. So just throwing it out there for discussion. And again, we would want to come back at the discretion of the superintendent and you all if you'd like to take action on this next month.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to reiterate. This is a information and a concept. If you like the idea of a one-story with the pod type structure, this is not what the school would look like. It's just an idea for you to look at. But we are on a timeline, and the reason I say that is we need to next month determine if we're going to do a repeat or if we're going to change concepts. And then we're going to also need to choose an architect next month because we have to go out for bid and start getting started on that elementary school to have it ready to open in two years.
2019.
Yes.
Yeah, we would really need to get that started this fall. And it's going to be a tight schedule. So.
And we have the money, as y'all know, we have the money for that 3rd school third new campus. So in order for us to meet our timeline, we've got a month really to make a decision if we're going to do a repeat or go to a new concept. And this new concept then would be something we would probably use for the next few elementary schools like we have in the past.
And tweak it like we always do?
Yes.
As we
Yes.
open it up? You know, my thought, are you done?
Yes, yeah, I just want to
Yeah,
make sure.
my thought is that, we've changed the concepts for our high schools and our middle schools and our elementary schools since I've been on the board. And I'm not the expert by any stretch of the imagination. You guys are. I like the idea of flexible space. I love that idea that that's going to be with middle school 9. I'm really excited about that school. And so, these spaces that we have here that are flex spaces or maker space, whatever you call them, I think it's a wonderful idea. I think it's a good idea to have the classrooms around each other because we do it halls now, but I mean, pods, same concept. What I don't like is the old school, and we've talked about this, Dr. Brown. I don't like the old school, don't have natural light in the classroom, kind of, all that stuff. We've got some schools that are like that. I like the idea of having windows, the skylights, all that stuff. But, when it comes to ideas, I like the safety ideas. So I'm all for this concept, and I think we should get the teachers involved with this as well, because I think we've done that before when we went to the new concept from the old Joyner to the new, I think Tacita Springs was the first elementary that we built that new concept. We got the teachers involved with that one. So I think we should get the teachers involved and some principals, elementary school principals, and the assistant soups for elementary. Bring everybody to have their ideas thrown about and talk about it. So, but as a board member, not my expertise. I'll pass. I like it. I like the idea. Yeah, no, I think it's great. As a board member, I guess what makes me feel better as well is the safety aspect. I mean, being able to push a button and lock down the classrooms to give basically 2 barriers instantly for anybody that's entering the school from the main entry especially makes me very happy to know that we can do that instantly. And so that's a good thing. So.
Thank you, Ms. Conrad. So if I understood you right, Mr. Sitton, then we're already behind schedule. Because, and I'm only saying because we're in information tonight to possibly make a decision next month, and we need 24 months to build, and we still have to possibly get an architect. And so help me to understand.
Okay, sure. I think that if I think 24 months is a long time to build. I think we can do an elementary school in certainly less than that, 18 months, maybe 15 to 18 months. So I think if we could get this, if this is something the board is interested in next month, and then we select an architect next month, then I think we start that process working with staff and all the staff, the teachers, all of us, the principals, all of us looking at this design, working that, and if we can get that done, I think by the, certainly before Christmas break and get this out on the street and bid, and we can have a contractor selected certainly by the 1st of February or right in that time frame, I think we'll be good. If we delay it any longer than that, then my recommendation would be we need to do the repeat and bring this concept back maybe after the bond issue.
Thank you, Dr. Brown, for the clarification.
I just have a quick question is the land. What's the land? You're one story, you're taking up more land, right? So
Right.
what's the plot look like?
Well, I think that, we have 23 acres and we have 15 acres that we're going to build on. We built the one where I came from, this concept, on 15 acres and had plenty of space.
Okay.
Plenty of room.
3 acres, 15 acres.
If you think about it, one thing we talked about, the old design, not the one we're currently using, but the old one-story design, they were long hallways.
Yeah.
And these are shorter hallways that sprout out, if you will, in these pods.
Right.
And you actually, I've looked at a couple of these. You can actually do more than one pod on each extension from that centerpiece. So based on whatever size school you want to build population-wise, the concept is that you can still do the same thing with the same safe and secure part, with the same makerspace part, with the collaborative spaces, but have a couple arms off of each extension, if you will.
And what is the population size of this building, or have we decided?
That was my question.
Well, this would still be a 950 student school. We would still be around 100,000 square feet, a little over that, maybe a little under with this one, but it would be constructed for 950 students.
Okay, because that was my question.
Dr. Brown, would you mind sharing a little bit about the cost difference if we look at building a different layout?
Well,
generally speaking,
it's going to be pretty similar to what we're doing now. Right now, the figure I've been given is it's going to be anywhere from $200 to $210 a square foot. That's what it's costing. So we're going to be in the same ballpark. So this concept's not going to, certainly it's not going to cost the district any more than what we're currently, even if we went with a repeat. And so we're looking at, we've been spending, so for the last elementary school, about $23 million in construction cost. So we're going to still hover right around that, maybe a little under, but right in there.
Let me ask you this question. I'm thinking, playing chess right now, 3 or 4 moves ahead. Let's say, for example, the bond committee, our community says, we got to get rid of Foster. That school's way too old. We're going to level it. Is there enough room to build this where we have Foster?
Well, I would think so. Yes, I would want to work with the architects on that, but, and just off the top of my head, I can't tell you how many acres we have there.
I know,
it
just popped into my head now.
Absolutely. Now, what you might have to do is look at a different way that Foster is currently laid out. So you couldn't drive up there today and say, well, it's going to be laid out like this. This is going to be our drive. It may not be. It may turn.
Okay.
So just depending on how the architects can fit it on that property.
All right.
Okay. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. There are a couple of other information items under governance and financial services. Anyone has questions on those? There's not a presentation, right? No. Okay. All right. So that brings us to future board business, if I'm correct? Yes.
Well, we just need to get dates for board retreats, or whatever you want to call it, our 3 mandatory hours. So Dr. Fagan, can you ask Summer or someone to email us so we can get a date planned, because we have to get that done.
Okay, so the retreat and anything else, we're working on breakfast with the board dates and things like that too, but if there's anything else, but the retreat's the key.
Yeah, well, we've got to get our 3 hours. So
Okay.
we need to get a date, then we can figure out what we're going to do. I think part of that's going to be self-evaluation, but we've got to,
I think we were going to be talking vision.
yes.
We will send out some possible dates and get
Okay,
feedback.
thank you.
Madam President, I'd like also for you and Dr. Fagan to possibly initiate or start looking at our polling places. I'd like for us to kind of look at that. That was one of the things that was talked about. We have tried to do this in the past when Dr. Sconzo was here, but in particular, I heard a lot from the folks in Summerwood. The folks in Foster were highly upset because they had to cross the river to come and vote. I think if we can try to find something and make it ease for all of our voters, I'd like to see if we could bring something forward.
We will, thanks.
And just to reiterate from Dr. Brown's his most recent presentation here, through the course of the next 3 weeks, get all your questions answered through Dr. Brown, Mr. Correa, or Dr. Fagan, because of the timeline that Mr. Cunningham brought up. We're going to need to take some action at the next board meeting. So get all your questions answered. So if we need to discuss more at the meeting, we can do that and be efficient and go ahead and choose the direction, whether we go with a repeat or the new concept.
Anything else? Are there any objections to reorganizing this agenda? It's a tongue twister, y'all. I'm just saying, is there a need to do this grouping? Are we married to this format?
He just got used to board docs.
It would lessen your frustration, Mr. Lopez.
I'm used to this.
It would be a simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps.
Yes, dear. All right. All right, if there is no other future board minutes, we are adjourned.